Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pod and Review the week ending, I guess, October 17th, 16th. It's all confusion
It's there somewhere.
these days. But welcome.
Welcome.
So the week started off with just us talk. Oh, by the way, I am prepared.
Me too, Rube. Me too.
But
They're gonna win tonight.
But do you have your?
Oh, that's a beautiful. Whoever gave you that mug must really love you.
Joe Kelly Fight Club mug.
That is the
Yes,
best.
thank you, Jacob. You got this for me for my birthday. I appreciate it.
Happy birthday.
And
there you go. You did a sip. Can I just share a little commercial real quick?
Coffee tastes better in a Tears of the Braves coffee cup.
Amen.
Okay, let's do this. Let's start with our week. Season 2. What are your thoughts with that video that we opened up season 2 with?
You know, can I be honest with you, looking back on it, I felt a little nervous, and nervous meaning like, wow, it's like we're back at it. It's been like almost 4 months, right? Or maybe it was 4 months when we first were on. And I know we did some things in the summer a little bit, a couple of episodes, but really was a little nerve-wracking. And when I think once we started, we're like, okay, we're back on that bicycle again. I'm not sure if you felt the same way, Ruben, but I had a little butterfly in a little bit in the beginning, and I think that's a good thing to be a little nervous. I'm not sure if you feel that way when you get on stage. I know you do a little stand up, and but I had a little bit of that, so I was excited about it.
It's nothing like getting on stage doing stand up.
Nothing at all.
No, because getting on stage, I get so nervous that I almost always want to back out. It's okay. Still.
Okay. And here you can't back out because I'll give you a hard time.
No, this to me is just a conversation. I never feel nervous. I never feel nervous doing this because it's just because there's other people you're talking to.
That's true.
Sometimes, and I mean, at least one other person. Sometimes, multiple people. So it's just cool. I mean, I'm looking forward to some of the conversations this week. I'm gonna really. We're going to have a couple of really cool moments, I think, this coming week. But yeah, at one point I discussed the idea of going deeper, and just to be more specific of what I meant by that, this coming week we're having a return guest talk about a particular book that they appreciate, and I'm glad that you caught that book because we would have just I didn't really catch it. There are other books and other items that I have, but you mentioned this book, and then we went deep. We read the book. So anyway, we're going to talk about it. But I thought about other guests and kind of playing around with the format. The idea of like having, for example, say a story time with Paul Richardson, or David Dorff. Something that is, we play around with the form of what we've used in the past.
Right.
Reading a book with Nanoski, reviewing a book that he mentioned, a book that they mentioned because they're going to want to talk about it. They're going to want to expand on it with somebody who's also read it. I think it's a good idea.
It's amazing, and we're doing it right away this next week. So that's why I'm excited. When you're mentioning this one guest that we're having, I want to say some things, but I know I don't want to spoil the episode. But you guys got to watch this week. It's going to be fun. And so, yeah, I'm excited about this season because we're just going to twist. And like you said, Ruben, we're going to do different things. We're going to invite some people back. We're going to have new people on. And I think it's good to talk about some serious topics, too, which we'll get into in a second. But, we mentioned that first episode was dedicated to our father. And I felt like this week was kind of our dad kind of came up a few times. But, I wanted to do something, Ruben. I didn't tell you this before, but I think we should dedicate the season to our dad. This is like, maybe I'm going too far, but he's kind of bigger to me, and I know he is to you, than one episode. I think I want to dedicate the season.
Absolutely. His memory lingers on, and his motivation just continues. I do want to point out that it's funny because you view things a little bit differently than I do, in the sense that
really
you get a little disappointed, I think, that Dad kind of, you always, I don't
Loved you
know how
more?
to word this. You always, yeah, Dad loved me more. That's obvious. But I actually look at I looked at it as the way he viewed this channel, Pod and Deliver. You said, no, Dad liked it. Dad appreciated it. He liked it for what it was. And I thought, well, no, he actually pushed us to be better. I look at it a little differently than you, but I don't look at it as negative.
No, I don't either. I think you're right. I think both. I think he liked it.
He handled the channel the way he handled things surrounding us in the past, but it's a good thing to push us to be better.
Yeah, I don't think Dad ever said it was perfect. He would always like, well, you could do this.
Oh, he would never say something.
Never. It's always like,
no, he would never use the word perfect about
never.
Anything. But what I liked is that he did mention one. He did mention one episode to me. I'm not sure. I think you were there. Yeah, he really liked the Mother's Day episode. He mentioned that. He commented and he said, "I think you guys." I can't remember the wording. And by the way, I do have that painting still there.
Oh yeah,
that on my.
That's based on the book. Very cool. The artist.
Well, the artist, yeah.
The artist, yeah.
So he did mention that, and it's motivating to just keep getting better.
Wow.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm glad. Let's
I thought about that. Maybe we might have Mother on again next Mother's Day. Maybe. Who knows?
Sure.
Possible.
Yeah.
We'll see.
She is. Oh, by the way, our video, 84 Charing Cross Road, I believe is at about 109 views or 110 views. Now think about it. People might say, "Come on, that's nothing."
That's our first episode.
We don't have that many views on movie reviews or book reviews. Usually, the ones that get a lot of views are interviews with certain guests.
Sure.
So that's significant. And my mom is reviewing the book in her book club.
Is she really?
In November, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so.
Oh, it's a great book.
That's kind of fun.
Oh, very cool.
Well, let's go to the next episode, which was Dangerous Minds. What are your thoughts?
Well, I guess I wasn't, I don't say I was surprised, but we both disagreed on the film. I mean, that's not surprising. I guess there are times where we just don't agree. And so you didn't like it as much as I did. I was entertained. I didn't think I was, like I said, but I was entertained. The music. But you know what? Why I liked it though, Ruben, it was also because it reminded me of teaching back then. Because we started teaching around that time when the movie came out. And so it just brought back some memories and the type of student that's represented. And I felt like the energy of her was something I could relate to. And so I think the film itself just brought me back those memories and good feelings, and more than negative, because we're still at it. We're still teaching. And so Michelle Pfeiffer, I felt like was miscast. But other than that, I really enjoyed it.
Well, I will say that I'm going to criticize myself a bit for something that I said in the video. I still hold on to what I said about the movie. Going back to some reviews, they were pretty merciless. LA Times called it stereotypical, predictable, and simplified to the point of meaninglessness. So I feel a little bit better because wasn't as harsh as they were. And then Variety said that it was sentimental and often strained credibility. So I think what I would critique about my review is that I was really too dismissive about the book and the teacher it was based on. And so it was based on a book by a U.S. Marine turned teacher, and Luann Johnson, and the book was titled "My Posse Don't Do Homework." And there's a very excellent article about her in The Guardian, and maybe I'll link it to the show notes here, to the description.
That'd be great.
Because in the article, she is a pretty tough character, and she is not impressed by the producers, and she was being very careful about her words, but she wasn't really happy with the casting. she thought it should have been Bette Midler, but she wasn't critiquing. She just said, I think maybe Bette Midler. And then they said, Michelle Pfeiffer is going to play her. And
that might have been kind of cool, actually, to have Bette Midler. And she could go through that accent at least.
She's right. Yeah, better act. Yeah, probably better performance. And then Bruckheimer, right? Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson, came to her classroom. These are very, very well-known producers, Top Gun and so forth. Yeah. They came to my classroom, she says, with Pfeiffer. I knew who she was, but when they introduced themselves, I said, so, Mr. Bruckheimer, have you made any movies I might have seen? I mean, you don't say that to a Hollywood type, especially as big as Jerry Bruckheimer.
Right.
And he said, Flashdance, Sleeping with the Enemy. And I said, if I had known you were famous, I'd have been more impressed. I was kidding, but they didn't know what to think. And they said, and she goes on to say that she never taught poetry by organizing a Dylan Thomas versus Bob Dylan contest.
Really?
And she said, she has an interesting quote here. I'll just read it and let the audience do what they will with it. Yeah. She said, in my class, the kids were evenly mixed, Black, white, and Hispanic. In the movie, they made it all minority kids with a token white kid here and there. That perpetuates this myth that only minority kids are at risk and that white kids don't have any problems.
Whoa.
So I'll just leave it at that. So I'll link the article because I think it's interesting.
Yeah,
and so I really regret the way I sort of dismissed the story that it was based on, because it sounds a little bit more complex and interesting, actually.
It definitely sounds like a Marine, I mean, that's what we wanted more in the film. And I know we got that. So.
Okay, so then that leads to our next episode, which was on mandates in terms of vaccinations. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've that was a topic we weren't sure to address just because it's so controversial. But I will say this, that I'm totally against anything that pits people against each other. And I feel like this has done that. And I don't like that at all. I just want to be able to continue to work with people that have differences than I had or have different opinion, and not to go ugly. And I think that this type of topic makes people go there. And I think there's some good arguments on both sides regarding mandates and so forth. And I think we need to listen to each other better. We don't. We just right away have our defenses and have our 2 or 3 little things we want to say and then let's get them off. And not time to becomes political. It matters whoever's in the White House, and if you like that person or not, then you're going to kind of gravitate to a lot of those opinions regarding even this topic of mandates. So I just felt like this is even bigger, though. I feel like this is kind of like a run through. So to be careful with when government comes at you and say, this is what you need to do, because I think there might be bigger and better, not better, but bigger things in the future. And what happened to the times where we questioned our government, which we seem like we did a lot in our history. And I don't think it's bad to question government, to say, hey, why is this happening? Why do we have to do this? To be not somebody who questions is concerning. And I think we have to think about that more, about, hey, what's coming down the line? And is this a preface for something else?
Well, I'll say 2 things about this. I'll try to be as brief as possible. First of all, I want to clarify something I said. I don't think I was totally right about our school with the coming mandate for students. I think I said students are going to get an out for medical and religious, but I was wrong. I got a very clarifying email from our executive director this week, which said only medical, not religious or personal beliefs.
Although that could cause trouble, though, if it's only medical.
Right. Well, so it's going to be a smaller window, right, for students and parents.
Sure.
The second thing I want to say is I'm gonna let it pretty clear how I feel. Now, even though I'm vaccinated, I guess I'm pretty biased now based on what happened this week at our school. So I found out that one teacher I know pretty well, and she's an excellent teacher, has been dismissed. It hit me so hard that I would just say it. I just wish it didn't go down like this. And maybe I'll get critique for that, but I just wish they allowed her a personal belief exemption. I know I might get bad emails about this, but it's just the idea of removing this teacher only harms these students.
Yeah.
And so
maybe it'll be easier, Ruben, if we saw that there was a lot of people getting ill in the schools, a lot of teachers getting, if we saw that, maybe you wouldn't be so sensitive, maybe, but we're not seeing that. So
if we're getting testing every week, we're getting tested every week.
Sometimes twice a week in some schools.
Well, what about your school? We're talking about our schools, right? What about your school?
Mine is once a week, but my children's school is twice.
Okay. So every week you and I are getting tested, and I'm biased because now it's two of my friends who have lost their jobs.
Right.
Impacted the students. I'm seeing removal, and it's just, before maybe I was more on the fence. I guess I'm not anymore, and I'm seeing it hit too close to home, and I'm very disappointed. So
I'm with you.
I'll say that. Yeah. Finally, you talked to Juan Garcia, and any thoughts from that discussion going?
Yeah, you just can't help but like Juan. I had someone text me saying, "Oh, I really dig Juan's episode," and I said, "Oh yeah, I mean, even if you met him in person, you have Ruben. He's just a very likable person, amiable, somebody who really is passionate about his subject, and you saw that in the episode. I think what he's doing in the classroom, and then after the AP exams with these programs that give historical insight of what of East LA, I think that's going to have a big impact in that community. And you know what I like at the end though is the challenge of doing it in your area. Like if you're from Compton or from the West Side, find out the history of that area and do some programs talking about that. I love that. That's like a challenge. And I took it as a challenge for me. And not to say, East LA has such they have great history for sure. You have the blowouts, you have the moratorium, Vietnam, you have so much to talk about, but so does other parts of LA. LA has some rich history, and why not take advantage of it? I've had the opportunity to visit two of our guests in this last year, over the years in the classroom, and Juan is one of them. And he's a real deal, people. This guy is 100% goes for it, and he looks at all the modalities and having people get up and walk around and do activities, projects. And
when you say the modalities, what do you mean?
Garner's modalities, where kids don't only learn one way. Sometimes some kids are auditory, right? Some kids are more visual. Some kids are more kinesthetic in ways they learn.
Do you believe that 100%?
Do I believe in all of them? I believe that every kid, it's not just one way they learn, right? I think it's multiple. Now, some people I think would say, "Oh, there's only one way a kid can learn." I think kids are we're all different, and we have different. I know for me, I'm visual, but I'm also kinetic, so I look at it that way. So I'm not sure if a lot of people would agree with me on that.
I guess my question is the kinetic not true about everybody, or mostly everybody?
What do you think? I think most everybody gets something out of that. Yeah. I personally, what I've seen with kids, get them out of their seats and get them moving, get them doing a video. They love that stuff.
And don't you agree that most people are visual?
I see what you're getting. What you're getting, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but with all these modalities, we get something out of. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And the idea that there are some people who are auditory, other people who are visual, I think in my opinion, it can be a big trap for a teacher, in the sense that I'm going to speak to the auditory kids today. And it's like, wait a minute, how many of our kids are just auditory?
Right.
I don't think very many at all. Maybe a handful. I think, yeah, that's where I'm driving at, is that really good teachers seem to be accessing the whole piñata.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I think
which is Juan Garcia,
right? Yeah, I mean, he does it all. And you saw it in the episode. You could see, well, this guy is getting to all those modalities and with his kids, and he knows them, and he knows his students, and so he definitely attracts not only the kid but be able to teach him in different ways. So I love that. Yeah, he's fun to watch as a teacher. And so and even this week I was thinking it's so great to go observe other teachers, to learn from them, even if you're not, have to observe someone. Just it's fun to sit in someone's classroom and just take in and learn. So I think that's a piece of advice I'd give to any new teacher, even teacher who's been seasoned. So there you go.
Yes, it was great listening to Juan and his approaches. I like the idea of like you said, the local history, and also getting students involved and telling their stories and moving it from the classroom to outside the class.
For sure.
We had this idea of moving into starting off as classroom guest speaker. Then we pushed it into the school-wide assembly, connecting, making it more at stake for a student. And how do you make it more at stake? The assignment, having them contribute to the assembly, having them student initiated. Because man, it really is, it's one thing to just give a student, here's their homework, here's the assignment. But where is this leading? What's at stake? How does this relate to I guess we have another audience member here.
We have a guest appearance by Gideon.
No, he's not a guest until he contributes.
There you go. He will.
You better say something. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
He just wants to hang out with his dad.
But this idea that there's more at stake, it's not just an assignment, I have to turn it in, moving on. How does it relate to my personal story? How does it relate to my life after school? Does it relate to my career? This is really powerful stuff. So some very good things we got from that episode.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? It was a little personal because of our father, who he knew him as well. And that's very rare that our colleagues, well, I guess not totally, but he actually knows him very well. He's been to his productions, and that was kind of fun to know that we had that person in common. So there you go.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us who you want as a guest.
Sure.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.